I'm Elliot at the Taxpayers Alliance, and I'm just outside the House of Parliament with Jack Rankin, who is the MP for Windsor. We've just heard today that Windsor and Maidenhead are being given permission for a 9% council tax increase, but that's much less than the 25% council tax increase that they'd requested. Jack, as the MP for a big chunk of that area, I just wanted to get your initial reaction.
Yeah, well, as you know, Elliot, my inbox has been chocker with this. 25% would have been in the order of £450 per year for the average Band D dwelling in my constituency. And frankly, you know, in the cost of living crisis we're all in, you know, that's something that a lot of households would really struggle to put together. You know, 9%, obviously that's still a significant increase, but that's, you know, around, just in rough numbers, 150 rather than 450, so saving 300. So it's my initial reaction is that's great news for my constituents in the Royal Borough part of my constituency. So delighted really that Angela Rayner's done this.
Yeah, and we said in our reaction, you know, fair play to Rayner, it could have been worse. However, you know, our view still at the TPA is that Windsor and Maidenhead always had the option for these tax increases. Yep. They just would have had to go to residents to get their permission. Yep. So I want to sort of get your views as well on the fact that residents are not being being asked permission. They are not giving permission to this. This is still being done to them rather than with them.
Yeah, well, look, if Angela Rayner is more lower tax than you are, then I'd love to know what's in the water at Maidenhead Town Hall, and perhaps I'll have some. Well, what I'd say to this is the Royal Borough have made the case that the current finances of the Royal Borough are unsustainable and they need a 25% rise. That's the claim they have made. So they've submitted their evidence to government, and the local government department has said, well, we think you can do it on 9. Right? Yeah. So now the challenge to Maidenhead Town Hall is the government think you can do it in 9%, so they either can work within those 9% parameters, and if they think they need more, which is what they've been saying today, well, they can go to referendum, and we'll be on the other side of that referendum campaign, and I know which way my constituents will vote, and I'll be supporting them, and that'll be to keep council tax down. We've seen just this weekend stories break, you know, I know that it's the tabloids being tabloids, but the Royal Borough seem to have a member full-time staff in Kazakhstan, who I understand is a deputy town manager. Yeah. That's not something that happens in the private sector. You know, I have nothing against flexibility in the workplace, but if you've got flexibility in the workplace, you answer the phone and you deliver your KPIs, and that's not something that's happening at the Royal Borough, Windsor and Maidenhead, in my opinion. So I'm glad the government has marked their homework, and quite happy actually with the outcome.
Yeah, and I suppose this just shows the importance of local campaigning from good MPs and, of course, good campaign groups like the TPA.
Well, that's kind, and I know the TPA have made a big splash on this. I know you've been out and about, both in my constituency and next door, right across the Royal Borough. Look, I don't really think this is something that should be too party political. I know it's got in that position, but this is a borough that's lost control of its finances. In the last year, they overspent by 10 million. This year, 16 million seems to rise every year. There's a lack of basic financial control, and I'm being written to by people who work in finance teams of FTSE 100 companies saying, you know, that you can't not sign off your accounts for this kind of period of time. That's not something that's acceptable. And I use the analogy in my letter to Angela Rayner: if you were a shareholder and the business lost money and the business came back for more to make it more sustainable, and they couldn't sign off the accounts, you'd just say no. So one of the things they've made a point of in Maidenhead is saying that we've not enough finance staff. They've got 53 full-time equivalents in the finance team at the Royal Borough. I just don't think that is acceptable, and obviously the Secretary of State agrees with me.
Yeah, so difficult times ahead for your constituents, but nowhere near as bad as it could have been.
Yeah, exactly, and we'll keep campaigning, and I know the TPA will be there with us.